Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Chair, a special edition, crossover edition, with my man Todd here, one half of the Grinds. You can find Matt as well there. Just a tremendous show. Check it out on many platforms, and I'm gonna let him promote it. The Grinds, and
Oh,
go ahead.
thanks. Thanks for having me on, James. So we've had you on our show too. He's a great guest. And if you're not checking out the chair, you should check out the chair. It's a great show. Gives a lot of perspectives, but we kind of like do a variety show and then we do a sports show. And he's sort of the same way, but he gives a very unique perspective. And you got to see when he actually judges food. It's hilarious. When he tries them out anyway.
Uh, yeah, I gotta get on that food wise, but man, it's so hot that I
Oh,
don't even want to think about eating until like midnight. I gotta get some watermelon, gotta find
dude.
something new.
I don't blame you. Right now, it's like 113, or it was 113 here in Whittier, and then we have an AC here in the studio, but it makes too much damn noise, so it's like we have to bite the bullet. So he's got the sweat towel, I got the ice water.
You don't have to yell. Um, if he had the AC on, but
I'll bring it up a little bit. There you go. You're good. There you go. My bad.
so we didn't really know the NFL season was gonna happen. I
True.
know there was skeptics saying, well, you can't have 53 men and the coaching staff and
Hmm.
players testing every day or every week or whatever, and all of them will be safe. Well,
Hmm.
we got a football season. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know if we'll make it all the way. I know you think, we're going to be all the way. We're going to have fans. What was it, by November, you said?
I'm thinking after election time, or like maybe December, we should have full stadiums. I believe there's going to be some sort of remedy by then, and then I think when the presidential stuff comes in, I think a lot of this stuff that we're going through right now with the constant protest every day, I think that's going to come to an end too. So we're just going to have to bear with it. We're going to have a lot of differences in the first week, and um, we talked about the other day. We just want to talk sports. So like we're not going to get involved in any the politics, but this is what an NFL show today. So
Yeah.
prediction show. So we just want to see pigskin. I don't care who's kneeling. I don't care who's has their arm over their chest and proud or not proud. I just want to see football.
I don't, and quickly, my opinion on that. Okay, they shouldn't even show the anthem,
Yeah.
and then don't even come out
Hmm.
if it's gonna be a burden on you.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, true. Freedom, you can go out, you can kneel, you can do
Hmm.
whatever you
Hmm.
want. It's been going on, what, since 2016 with Kaepernick and all that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It rises, it falls, it rises back again with all this movement going on. What I'm going to do,
Hmm.
now I already mute games that has Chris Myers from Fox. I can't stand his voice.
You
He
can't
does,
stand his voice.
he does a lot of Seahawk games because he
Yeah, he
does
does.
the West Coast late
Hmm.
games.
Hmm.
So I have a lot of them on mute anyway.
Hmm.
Um, and then, if you don't want to worry about the kneeling, if you don't want to see anything like that, just tune in after the kickoff.
Yeah,
Usually it's a touchback anyway.
pretty much.
To me, I feel like they should just get rid of the kickoffs
Hmm.
and just start like at the 25 or something. I think that, I know everybody wants that
That was the
first
talk.
picture in the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
No, just get rid of it.
Well, I look at it this way: if they're able to come up with stuff that's not going to get you concussions, and you're not going to be injuring yourself severely, if there's a way they can figure that out, because I do miss the kickoffs. I wish they'd back it up again. It's an exciting play. I mean, some guys made a career out of it,
Hmm.
and it was fun to watch. Now, like you said, most of the time you could put the most dangerous player back there, but it ain't going to make a difference because the dude's going to kick it in the first row. So, and it's very rare when you get I don't know how many kickoff returns there was for touchdowns last year, but there couldn't have been more than one or two. I mean, and of all the kickoffs, yeah, it was 90% of them were in the end zone. So it takes away some of the fun. But like I see your point too. If it's gonna be that way, then just get rid of it. And with tradition, with the American flag, with the kickoff, I think we're gonna keep them in there despite all that.
Hmm. There was one thing I was thinking about with kickoffs is just it seemed like the ones that went for touchdowns,
Hmm.
it would normally happen on like opening days.
Yeah.
I would notice that, and because everybody's not together, and without spring training preseason
Preseason, yeah.
games,
Hmm.
you don't have that camaraderie yet. But you're hoping to have it, and you're hoping everybody does the same thing as everybody needs to do.
Be in the
on
right
same,
position.
yeah, same
Hmm.
page.
Hmm.
And we talked about this yesterday, where the first 4 weeks we might not see good play.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
might see untimed routes
Hmm.
and bad throws and fumbles galore.
Yeah.
So as much as we're pumping up, the football, I'm not expecting much, Thursday.
Yeah.
When it gets started with Houston and Kansas City, I'm not expecting a lot.
Because think about it. You're absolutely correct. The first 4 weeks is usually a defense that has to catch up to the offense. And look what happened last year. You talked about it yesterday. Baltimore Ravens came out there, put a butt whooping on the Dolphins. Was that the Dolphins we saw all last year? No. But it took them a couple weeks, and then they got, they weren't a good team or nothing, but they weren't god awful like they were in the first week. And there's teams that surprise you. There's always a team that jumps out 3-1 or 4-0, and you're like, wow, this team's actually turning the corner. And then when the rest of the league catches up to them because they're not really that good, they kind of got breaks the first couple weeks. Then you see how, because I never really judge a team till 8 weeks in.
Oh yeah.
When you're 8 weeks in, you've played half the season, you kind of know what you got as a football team, as a fan or your division rival. You can tell if they're going to be there at the end or if they're not. So, yeah, the first 4 weeks are going to be definitely difficult to judge anybody. And, of course, you're going to have the Monday morning quarterbacks and the people that freak out and overdo it. They're going to be like, oh, my God, this team's 2-0. They're going all the way. So, yeah.
That's one thing I've always shied away from with the chair, is to really be and give outrageous opinions like all the others. And that's why I've always gravitated toward your content on either YouTube or the grinds, wherever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't make like brash, outlandish comments or predictions, and where it's just like, what are you saying? What? And that's why I like that show. I mean, that's exactly why I like it. You tell it from the heart, and it's usually the case.
Oh, thanks.
But you don't go overboard like the people that get really paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that so much.
So you mean I don't make any Colin Coward observations? He said the Baltimore Ravens were going to be 16-0.
16-0. I feel like he said that last year. They had the same graphic. Maybe they went like 14-2 or something. Like he got the Lamar Jackson tip that he was going to be great.
Yeah.
Like, what was your friend? Remember?
He was saying that the Niners, I think, were going to be like 15-1 last year or something like that. So, I mean, he was kind of close on that one, but,
Yeah, San Francisco, remember, was on the run 2 seasons before, but Jimmy got hurt. And they would have been maybe a wild card team.
Yeah.
They were, I guess, a year behind, but they got Bosa, and then you saw what happened last
Everything
year.
took off, yeah.
Now they're a problem, and I don't want them to be a problem. I'd rather have Seattle being on the top for sure.
Well, we'll get into the Niners because I have some deep thoughts on them being a division rival. As you can see, I'm a Seahawk fan, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll have the same for the.
I'll try to
AFC
put
West.
bias aside, but
That's okay. So predictions wise, I wanted to go through divisions and the wild cards, and then who will end up in the Super Bowl. That's
Okay.
basically it.
okay.
So I'll start off with the AFC East, and we all know about Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
He had that thing in the off season where Belichick was trying to pull him back, saying, "Hey, I'll change.
He wanted out there.
But Brady had his mind set to be gone, and it was wherever Giselle wanted him to go, right, or where she wanted to go.
Yeah.
Florida.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't going to be a Chargers. It wasn't definitely going to be the Dolphins.
Never.
No way.
No.
Because of their draft status. But he ended up in Miami, and he ended up in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And now that division, as bad as it is, it seems open wide. But there is 2 bad teams in it. It's still, to me, a 2-team race. You got Buffalo, you got New England, Miami, and the Jets. It's still a 2-team race like last year and the year before.
Mm-hmm.
But I have Buffalo on top at first, and then New England, and then Miami, and then the Jets.
Okay.
But Miami and the Jets, I still don't think they're in line to compete for a wild card or anything.
Okay.
But with Cam Newton, I'm not sure what we're gonna see because
Yeah.
it feels like he's had a year or more off,
Hmm.
and he's in a new system, and he's bringing his, laughing. He's bringing what you say with his dressing.
Oh, the what's it called? The what's that called? Dude, you're gonna what?
Cross dressing.
Yeah, the cross dresser. And but what's that called? There's a name for it too when you're metrosexual. He's bringing that to New England, which is very conservative. So I don't know how that's going to play out when if he's going in there with loafers or high heels during press conferences. I don't know how it's going to go.
Well, it's funny too. Playing in Charlotte, you don't get that cold of weather. But up there, he's gonna have to wear. He can't wear no dresses anymore.
Yeah, but he's been wearing scarves though.
Fur coats.
Yeah,
he's gonna need 2 scarves.
The Medea glasses. Yeah.
I couldn't believe he wore that. Whenever he did, I thought that was a meme.
Big old top hat.
I thought that was a meme.
Yeah.
And the internet is still undefeated. So
absolutely.
With Cam, Edelman is still there. They still have a good running back, but their defense, New England's defense, is just depleted. Many have taken the year off. Many have been released or gone somewhere else.
Patrick Chung and Hightower, and I want to say there's 2 other players prominent on that defense that sat out. You're right.
Right there, those 2 is the core.
Mm-hmm.
Secondary and your linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't have him anywhere near a wild card. I don't care if Cam has a resurgence, but they just released Mohamed Sanu.
Yep.
And he was playing injured last year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't know.
I didn't know.
So I got Buffalo, but it'll probably be like 10-6. Buffalo, they'll win the division. How do you see a division going?
I told you this yesterday because yesterday we talked a lot of football because we did our draft. And so the draft was really fun. It was just weird because we did it Zoom. He was the only one that came to our house. But usually we have barbecues and cookouts. But story aside, Buffalo's my surprise team in the AFC. I actually think they're going to get 11. I really like Josh Allen. At times he gets in his own way sometimes. They really lost the playoff game. I don't think they were beaten last year. Their defense has been super solid. They have a great coaching staff. They added Diggs, and if Diggs can mind his business and just catch the ball, I think he's going to be a really good weapon for Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, sometimes if you notice when you watch him, he's very hesitant to make that deep throw, to take that risk. He'd rather run. So maybe if Diggs can buy him another or he could buy another second for Diggs, he'll throw to Diggs instead of taking a hit or going for a run on 3rd and 16 when, he's not going to make it. Mm-hmm. So I like the Buffalo Bills in that division. Now, here's where I kind of differ with you. I got the Dolphins finishing last, and whether they start Fitzpatrick, which they got rid of the Toucan Sam, Rosen's gone. But it's going to be Fitzpatrick to start probably, and then Tulia while it's the Supo, whatever his name is. I don't trust him because he's injury prone. I think that was a bad draft pick by the Dolphins, but time will tell. Maybe I'm wrong. But I got the Dolphins finishing 4th. I like the Patriots to finish 3rd because of all the things that you said. Yeah. And I believe you're right. But I think that'll hold them back because the reason why I pick them 3rd is because look at how Brady would throw the football. And look how it would be quick snap, throw to a receiver, quick slant. Yes, they have some of the same receivers. But have you ever seen Cam Newton throw the ball like Tom Brady? Mm-mm. Have you ever seen him throw an offense like that? Usually he's shotgun, drop back, 3 to 5 step, and then throw or run. Yeah, juke around the pocket. Yeah, he's not the Tom Brady type pocket passer, and that offense works for the pocket passer, and he's just not. And he has a long release that could take the time to get hit. Whereas Brady would get rid of the ball, he's getting hit. So that's why I think the Patriots are going to struggle. I see them finishing 7-9, 8-8, and then I got for the 3rd year in a row, I'm buying into the Jets, and even though they have 2 players that we stole Adams from them, being the Seahawks. I'm gonna say we, yes, even though I'm not part of the organization. But the Jets, I like Captain Mono, their quarterback, and I think he's gonna finally take the next step. I think Le'Veon Bell actually doesn't do what he did in Pittsburgh, but he makes up a little bit more than what he did last year. And I think the Jets offense rolls a little bit better. Greg Williams is a great defensive coordinator. I think the Jets finish around 8-8. The same, maybe 9-7 squeak in, or they're just right there.
Do you give them a wild card spot?
At this point, I would have to say they get edged out, but they come extremely close.
They had some good wins last year against the Cowboys, which
Yes.
was a shocker, and everybody lost money on that.
Oh yeah.
And then, and it happened to me with the Raiders. They came into MetLife and they got killed by the Jets. And I was just, that's when the downfall of the Raiders was. Personally, it started with the Jets, and they can score.
At times.
They can score, but yeah, their defense without Adams, I'm kind of intrigued to see how that's going to go. But you don't have, again, you don't have Brady there to tear you apart. Though.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
They're not guaranteed 2 losses right away. That's the whole point. So they have
everyone in that division now.
Yes.
Like, hey,
yes.
Maybe.
Yes, because maybe Buffalo can beat them in New England this year for the first time in forever.
That game was so close last year.
Yeah.
It came down to, I think, a third down and a penalty on
Yeah.
that Saturday game for the division, too, which
Yes.
hasn't happened pretty much since
Buffalo
the year
pushed
2000.
them. Yeah, Buffalo pushed them.
Yeah, I always remember that game because I was like, damn, Buffalo's finally, after 20 years of this struggle and this stronghold, couldn't get the division.
That's where I hope the fans are back, because at the end of the year, if a team like Buffalo does exercise those demons, it would be nice to see a full house and their fans rejoicing finally, you know?
The Bills, I think, was the first team to not allow fans in for the season.
Yeah.
I can mention that because evidently we do want this all to end and we want to live our normal lives again and
Absolutely.
go to our places of interest. Instead of Darnold getting, what did you say,
Mono.
Captain Mono.
Captain
Hopefully
Mono.
it's not Captain COVID this year.
Yeah.
I hope. For the AFC South, there's always something incomplete about this division where somebody underperforms, and it's always 9-7, 8-8 gets the division. There's never a wild card coming out of it unless it's Houston. That's always been the case with Houston, and they always lose, except last year. But this one is tough because you got Phillip Rivers coming from the Chargers going to the Colts. They gave up on Brissett. You got the Titans re-signing Tannehill and Henry.
Got Clowney.
And recently just got Jadeveon Clowney. I thought he was going to go to Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, okay, you're going to fit him in right into the system week 1. This week, bring him in like nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Now he's got to learn a whole scheme over there. But hopefully he'll get situated. You got Houston in there that traded away Hopkins. I just don't know why. They got David Johnson that used to be a fantasy honk,
Yeah, Fuller, too.
and now he's not. That running game is going to take a little hit, but Fuller, they also have Golden Tate. So there's going to be a lot of, instead of going deep, there's going to be a lot of slants. The only thing, Deshaun Watson for the Houston Texans got to throw shorter passes, like what you mentioned with Tom Brady, how he took those 2-3 step drops and find someone. Deshaun Watson, instead of running around, maybe trying to get injured, just take that throw. Like you mentioned with Brady, I think that would help. And what I say is tied for the worst organization in pro football with Washington. The Jacksonville Jaguars basically gutted their team from 2017, who was a quarter away from defeating the Patriots and going to the Super Bowl.
Incredibly. Yeah.
They gutted their whole team. There's no one left.
Coughlin's gone, too, right? Didn't they fire Coughlin?
He has that old style, like be here on time, which is 5 minutes early to the training camp meetings. I remember Strahan and him had a thing about that. I was here on time.
Yeah.
But it's 5 minutes. Be here 5 minutes before that. So he still had that rule with the Jaguars, and you know players nowadays.
They're
not
divas.
going to stand for that. They're going to get together. You're racing and protest. They're going to get together and say, hey, we don't like being like bullied around. This isn't like 1973 where there's 2-a-days and there's stuff like that. Still ain't gonna help them on the field. I mean, I don't even know who they have, honestly, other from Minshew. Their defense is literally a no-name defense.
It's gutted.
I still see Tennessee as the king of the division. I think Henry is still going to have his major season. With Tannehill getting used to the offense, with Brown, with their tight ends, I think that's going to work out. So I see them in first. See, second and third, losing Hopkins for Houston. And I don't know what Bill O'Brien was thinking. I was just thinking, like, there were so many times probably Hopkins came into the office of O'Brien and just said, I want the damn ball. Like Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah.
Give me the damn ball. And he even wrote a book about it. And Hopkins is going to do the same thing. But now he's gone, and maybe that headache is gone.
Hmm.
But I still, Texans, you can't, with J.J. Watt plays what, maybe 1 or 2 games a year and he gets injured.
Yeah.
You think about where that Hard Knocks team came from in 2015 and where they are now. You know, won one playoff game, couldn't advance, couldn't get anywhere, and they're still stuck in the same spot. It sucks. And then with the Colts, with Phillip Rivers, he's got, just like someone said, he throws just the worst passes. He freaks out too much. He can't really run.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a better offensive line, though.
Oh, way better. Way
Colts.
better. Yeah.
Way better. So it'd be good to see him get some time and protection and throw to their 2 receivers, and they still have great tight ends. So, and the Jaguars are Jaguars. I mean, come on. You have Minshew, but that's it. You don't really have a running game. You don't have receivers. They're basically tanking for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Who's going to take an off year, I guess, as everybody is in college almost.
Because are they playing, or are they going to resume?
So, basically, the small schools are playing in the South and in Texas. Like, what was that? Marshall was playing, like, Arkansas.
Louisiana Tech was playing.
Yeah, but none of the Pac-12 out here, the progressive states, are not playing. My USC Trojans will not be able to disappoint because they're not even going to play. But no Big Ten.
No ACC.
Right, no ACC.
Okay.
No SEC.
So they're not even going to try after January?
That might be the case. That might be the case.
Because I did hear a rumor.
They would probably get the 3, whoever wants to play the 3 conferences together and just make one Division I conference.
Jeez.
So it's going to be like, hey, you want to join us? Come on. You want to join us? Come on. That's what I think is going to happen.
Those are colleges that just desperately need money.
But think about that. With Lawrence, you don't want him to get hurt and then draft time comes around.
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't even play, honestly.
Yeah, I think he's going to sit out.
Right. As everybody probably will. So Jacksonville's tanking for Lawrence. We know that. Too bad there's no lottery. Or they'll get screwed. So, again, I got Tennessee. And then I'll probably go Colts.
Wow. Okay.
They have a good defense. Leonard, second-year guy, he's so good. Our third-year guy, Darius Leonard, so good. Houston, I think they just seem to be on the downfall. I mean, you trade your best player. I know it's Watson, but quarterback. But I think Hopkins did more. He was that deep threat is gone. And, of course, with the Jaguars are going to be at last. How do you see that division going?
I'm not going to argue too much with this one. The only thing, I can easily see a flip-flop between the Colts and the Texans. I think Tennessee with Vrabel is just really smart. Defensively, they're a juggernaut. And you add now Clowney, who's just going to cause more pass rush problems for other teams. And he's really good against the run. He's very underrated against the run. He helped our run defense out being Seattle last year so much. So that's why he'll be missed in Seattle. And with Tennessee, they're going to find a lot more avenues of better defense. And they already hold teams, under 20 a lot during the regular season. So I think they're going to sweep Jacksonville. Like you mentioned, they lost Fournette. They've lost so many players. Everyone's been happy to get out of there. So I put it to you this way. I like Tennessee to win that division fairly easy. I think the Colts will take some wins away from the Texans. And the fact that Rivers goes to a team that has the best pass protection offensive line in the league, that's going to help him. And he's accurate, but yeah, he throws lame duck passes. He forces the ball a lot. But I think in that offense, he may get a break because he had weapons in L.A. The problem is that he had to throw it a lot earlier than he wanted to and off the back foot a lot, so the balls would hang up there. And
It's
then,
like a punt.
Yeah, and they'd make an easy interception. And then he fumbles a lot, too, because he holds the ball a lot. But I think with Indy, he's got a good running game, he's got a good offensive line, and he's got a better defense to stick up for him. But then again, he had that in L.A., and 2 years ago they were supposed to make moves, and they were a laughing stock. So I will give Houston second place.
Ooh.
Only because of that. I think Phillip Rivers will be the benefactor for the win when the Colts get a win, and he will also be the GOAT when they lose, the bad side of the GOAT. Because I think he's either hit or miss. And in the latter part of his year, I don't see him getting any better than he was in San Diego, L.A. I just don't think he's going to have a breakout year. He doesn't have an LT back in the backfield. He does have good receivers, but I just think that he will make some bad decisions. And I'm not sold on Houston either. I think this is a year where you can easily see Bill O'Brien get fired. And losing Hopkins was a diva. Hopkins did start problems, but when you have a diva receiver that good, you got to make it work. And they got rid of him, and like you said, I don't understand why they got rid of him. I'm the same way. But I still say Houston edges them out by a game in that division. But by far, the class is Tennessee.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Bill O'Brien is the president and head coach of the Texans.
I believe so.
I think he has both jobs.
We might lose both.
I think maybe this is the year we said, hey, we gave you the car keys.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving this. You're making the personnel decisions. This is all you. We have a window.
Oh, yeah.
Watson. You didn't want that. You didn't want Hopkins with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now what you going to do? So I think this is a shut up or put up year. Put up or shut up here for Houston.
I totally agree.
Do you see a wild card coming out of there? Is there three? There's got to be, 3 wild cards now? Or is that for next
It's 3.
season?
It's 3 years. 3, I'm sorry. No, I don't.
Ooh.
I don't think Houston makes it this year.
So no Houston wild card loss or win.
Mm-mm.
No waking up on a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon seeing Houston.
Seeing them lose.
Again.
Yeah, I think this is a year that O'Brien gets fired, and I think Houston takes a step back.
Yeah.
Even though Watson got the money, deservedly so. It's a good quarterback, very good quarterback.
I thought he was going to get that last year.
Yeah.
I really did.
But I just don't see. I think we've seen Houston song and dance, and I think the same thing with the Colts with Rivers. So I'm projecting no wild cards in that division. Tennessee all the way.
Bring back the Oilers, please.
That'd be nice.
Bring back the Oilers. For the NFC North, now, this looks pretty easy, right?
Or AFC North? Or
AFC North. With the Ravens,
mm-hmm.
Steelers, Browns,
Mm-hmm.
Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
This seems easy, right? You have the Ravens, you have Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers, I thought Big Ben would retire by now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he would keep playing.
Yeah.
They got a few backups because I know they're going to be used because
Mm-hmm.
Big Ben will eventually get injured. Eventually he will retire.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually they will move on. I don't know when, but eventually they will.
They'll put him in the rapist wing of the Hall of Fame. I'm just kidding.
You can add a few more in there.
I know. They have a wing, you know what I mean?
I think so. You have Cleveland and
Cincinnati.
and Cincinnati. With the Browns, I know you always have a great opinion about them. And then with Cincinnati, with me,
Mm-hmm.
with AJ Green, I hope they trade him. He can get one more last hurrah with a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
And get to the playoffs and then right off to the sunset. Or if he feels like he has a couple more years left in him, if he doesn't get hurt, he can go to a better situation.
Mm-hmm.
If Joe Burrow can look slightly good and be able to complete passes to Green and to Boyd and to the tight ends, maybe they can get maybe 3 wins.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I don't see the Bengals doing much. They're going to be in last for sure for me.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, see, I had a thing with my brother and my other fantasy team
Mm-hmm.
where I traded Lamar Jackson for players because I was like, you know what, maybe I can get some value for him for fantasy. But do you think, seeing how Jackson has done last year, that defenses have woken up and seen how to fence him in, where he can't be able to run, he can't be able to throw and do? You think teams have done their homework where he won't have such a great third season?
The great quarterbacks in this league are the ones that can adjust. Because, like you said, the defenses, it doesn't take long for them to adjust. We've seen this before with Kaepernick. Kaepernick had that breakout year, and no one could stop him. The very next year, he's handed the keys to the car, and he looks pretty mundane. And the same thing with Lamar. I believe Lamar's not going to ball out like he did last year. I don't care. I mean, Tennessee literally gave every football team, a blueprint on how to stop him. Now, you're going to see that from other defenses, like you said. The key is, can Lamar find the loopholes? Can he make those throws he couldn't make against Tennessee? Does he know when to tuck it in and not think run first? Because unfortunately, he's a quarterback that thinks run first too much. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I'm not being a homer on it. Russell Wilson, when he needs to run, he runs, but he goes down or he goes out of bounds. He does not take hits. If the extra yard if it looks like it's going to be painful, he goes down. And some fans don't like that. But I like it because my quarterback's never been hurt and he's never missed a start. And I feel that a guy like Lamar is going to miss a start or two or three, or unfortunately maybe, and I'm not putting, knock on wood, he doesn't miss a season. But you put yourself in that position too by not tucking it and want to be the glory hog and rush for 100 yards. You don't always have to rush for 100 yards. Take 20 carries. Take more carries than your running back. To me, you should not have to do that as a quarterback. And that's why Tennessee said, beat us with your freaking arm. You're not going to run on us. And look what happened.
I got to go back and see that game and how they sheltered in Lamar Jackson.
It was like watching Madden. They literally had two spies on the right and left, and then they had a spy in the middle. And they rushed sometimes only two guys.
And I don't know if they play each other this year, but if they meet in the playoffs and Clowney's there with Tennessee, that's another added adjustment Lamar would have to go through.
Clowney is a beast.
I just thought about that. I said, oh, they got Clowney, so that's another player that they can use in playoffs. I still see the Ravens first.
Yeah.
With Pittsburgh, they're in transition. The Bs are gone except Ben. But they should have kept the other Bs. But
yes.
One's a head case and one just wanted money. And
CTE
now he's
problems.
Stuck in New York with the Jets and just trash. But their defense is still great. The Steelers, you can always count on that. The thing is with the offense, I know they have James Washington. I know they have some good tight ends. But they're not going to be able to score as much as they would have. Or they should have to win games. Their defense with T.J. Watt, that standout player, they're going to have to be like the 85 Bears and just score at will. You strip the ball, you get picks with Micah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah. That guy's
so happy to get out of Miami after game one last year.
But isn't he an all-star, though? He's a great player.
Joe Hayden as well.
Another good one.
Isn't it funny? You go from, like, Miami, the worst,
to Pittsburgh,
and he played better with the Steelers. And right away, I think the first game he got like 2 picks, and he's like, "Man, I feel so much better."
Oh yeah.
Third team, and I got the Browns in second, and then the Steelers third, and the Bengals fourth. Now with the Browns, and I'll ask you about them too because you have great opinions about them. That whenever the Browns come up, Matt, and Todd always has great opinions about the Cleveland Browns. It's Odell or nothing. When you think about it, it's Mayfield or nothing. It's Eagles. It's 3 Eagles in that locker room, and then you add Myles Garrett, who did what he did, and he's coming back, and he knows everybody knows about what happened. He got paid. Still, I don't think he's going to miss any games, but
I don't think so either.
Those egos, you have Landry, you have Odell Beckham Jr., and you have Mayfield. The only guy that doesn't have an ego is their great running back, Nick Chubb.
Yes.
And they have some tight ends as well. All they have to do is get together and just say, hey, I'm going to throw you the ball, just catch it and do your thing. There's no fans there. You don't have to show up for anybody, Odell. Just be solid. Just be who you're going to be, and you're going to make the playoffs. I don't know. I still don't know. I'm hoping, and I'm thinking they'll get one of the wild cards with Cleveland. So I think Ravens first, Ravens first, Cleveland second, and a wild card. Pittsburgh is the outside out man out. The Bengals in last. How do you see the Steelers and the Browns and the Bengals.
I see it the same way you do. I'm just going to say the Ravens probably win about 11 to 12 games. I'm notching them down to about 12 games. I think you're going to see some teams get them a few times this year. And they're going to be in a lot closer football games. There's not going to be these blowouts. Granted, they're a great team. Losing Earl Thomas, that divided the locker room. Imagine had he stayed. They probably would have chalked up a couple more losses because they were tired of him last year. But they were winning, and winning cures all. So I'm thinking they take a step back, but they're still going to be elite in that division. I agree with you. Cleveland, I will agree, will take that next step. Freddie Kitchen was by far the worst hire last year. He was horrible. Like, they should have beaten Seattle last year at home. And he did everything to help Seattle win the game, and we thank him for that. But he did that several times. And then you have Baker Mayfield, who got caught up in the hype and was making commercial after commercial. That's all we saw last year. And I think this year he wised up. His agent told him, his coaches told him, stick to freaking football. And like you said, Odell is the freaking head case that if he realizes what Mayfield did, because I don't really see, Odell was in commercials too.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not in them this year. So maybe, just maybe, Cleveland is focusing on the field. Myles Garrett's got to be on his best behavior. And you have, like you said, Nick Chubb is a great running back. And they actually have a good offensive line. And don't forget, you have Kareem Hunt, who has something to prove, who's actually balled out in practice better than Chubb. So you have two great running backs. You have a good tight end. Like you said, defensively, they're pretty solid. They're not great, but they're solid. And I think this is a year where Cleveland actually shows some home dominance for once, because they always usually lose at home and win on the road. They're a funky team like that. So I would suggest that they win about 9 games, maybe 10, fall 2 or 3 behind the Ravens in the loss column. And yes, I see them pulling up with a wild card. Pittsburgh, I think Big Ben, you come back from an arm surgery like that, his arm's going to be, some guys are like, oh, he's throwing like he was throwing in his early 20s. Yeah, you weren't there, bro. You didn't see him when he was throwing in his early 20s. So I think for the most part, I think Pittsburgh shows their age this year. Mm-hmm. And I think they go about 500 or less. And then as far as Cincinnati's concerned, my prediction on Macaulay Culkin at quarterback and the Cincinnati Bengals, I think they're a team that starts off 1-7. But then the second half of the season, they split and go 4 out of 8, and they finish 5-11. And they sneak up on a couple teams, and they hurt Pittsburgh in the latter part of the year, or they hurt Cleveland when maybe they can make a move on Baltimore. They hurt one of those two teams, or even both. Or they snag somebody else that unexpected. Because some of the players you mentioned, if they can stay healthy, and we kind of know what Burrow can do in college, but if he can do half of that in the NFL, Cincinnati could put up some points. It's their defense that is god-awful. So we shall see, but that's how I see it. I see Cincinnati finishing probably 2 games back of Pittsburgh even, like a 5-11, 7-9, maybe a 9-7, 10-6 Cleveland, and then you got like a 11-5, 12-4, maybe even 13-3 Ravens.
Yeah, I'm just hoping, because Burrow, like you said, coming in. Oh yeah, hopefully he can make those last 4 games or 6 or 7 games. Mm-hmm. A hope for the future.
Yeah, that's why I'm.
You see how they ended the season? That's good as they're going into the next one. Sometimes that doesn't happen though.
Yeah, I mean,
but hopefully in this case it does.
Because we'll talk about Atlanta, and I think that's one of the teams that finished like that last year.
Yeah,
saved the coach's job, and there's optimism for this year, but there's no more like leeway. It's either do it or don't. And so we'll talk about them. So I think Cincinnati could, like you said, give their fans something to build on for the following year.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, it'll be one of those situations where, they'll look back and say, we started off bad, but then we grew as a team. Mm-hmm. We knocked out the Steelers. We knocked out the Browns at home.
We hurt this team.
Even though we couldn't get in, they couldn't get in on the same field. Mm-hmm. I would love to see something like that. Mm-hmm. My division, the AFC West, was finally crowned after 50 years by the Kansas City Chiefs. Mm-hmm. They had a wild playoff run. They were down, by 10 points or 13 points in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And they overcame that. Kermit got paid big
sure
money.
Did. Piggy's
even
happy.
got married,
Yeah, yeah.
which I'm not. You're only 24, so
Boy, she was rushing that right away, wasn't she?
better get a prenup.
Oh, I hope he did.
First thing I thought when you're 24 and you got how much? 400 million Mike Trout money?
Yeah, yeah. And that's not counting endorsements.
Oh gosh, you'd be on Sesame Street right now.
Pretty much. Dueling Kermits.
Yeah. With Kansas City, we know they lost their MVP of the Super Bowl. He didn't want to play this year. He opted out.
But you could
Damian
plug a
Williams.
running back in
True.
there. Yeah.
In that system, and we saw it in fantasy. It was like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? And
Yeah.
all with Kansas City. And I don't know if they were snagged up. But that's one thing I think they'll falter in. But they still have Hill. They still have Kelsey,
Watkins.
which got paid. Watkins this is his final year with the Chiefs, so he's looking for a big contract after screwing his career up with
So many times.
Buffalo, where he either I remember one time he was running to the end zone, he put his finger up, and the safety caught him from behind.
Yeah.
He showboating, dropping so many passes.
It's Buffalo football back in the day.
But with Kansas City, he's got his act together, and he got a ring.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, maybe that's motivation to do even better wherever you go next. Because after all that money they spent, and they also got defensive money too. They re-upped and signed some more of their defensive players, along with Kelsey, along with Mahomes. I still have them at first place. Easily could be 13-3, 12-4. I don't think 12-4. I think 13-3. I don't think there's a Super Bowl hangover with the Chiefs. I really don't. Now it's the other three teams in my division. I feel like I'm jinxing if I put my Raiders, who moved from Oakland to Las Vegas, and then Mars in 20 years. Whenever we get people on Mars, the Raiders will move to Mars. I want to say the Raiders got together. I know they just had an injury with Terrell Williams, and that's going to hurt the receiving core. You got Alshon Jeffrey, who drops so many passes. The pressure's on Renfro. The pressure's on the two tight ends. But the key to the whole Raider team and the offense is Derek Carr.
Absolutely.
He's been given so many chances. He's got Gruden on his case. He's got a new fan base with the Vegas people there. He's got the world knowing now, like, you better put up or shut up again, as we mentioned that earlier. He's got to put up something. If by week 8, if there's nothing going on with Carr, I think you have to explore Mariota. I know that's pulling the trigger too fast, but you're in a put up or shut up league with the Raiders, and with moving to Las Vegas and the spotlight on you. And if you're going through the same things with Carr, like I've been going through the last 2 or 3 years when he got hurt, maybe you gotta make that change. And with Jacobs, you hope for not a sophomore slump, as he should have been Rookie of the Year last year. But that's biased me. That's what I thought. The defense, young at key positions. They're gonna have their growing pains. They're the second worst ranked secondary in the NFL. So that's coming in. They're youthful though, but that's very haunting because you have the Chiefs, you have the Chargers, you have the Broncos that all have receivers that can go deep. But I'm gonna put the Raiders second, and then a wild card. In third, I'm gonna pick the Broncos. It's all on Drew Lock. He's young, and he's very animated. He loves throwing the ball down the field. That's why I think John Elway got him. And he went down to go get him, to trade up for him, from Missouri.
He sees a lot of himself in Drew Lock.
Yeah. But you've seen how many quarterbacks have gone through Denver in that time since he retired. There's only been Manning and Plummer, Brister.
Oh, Brister.
But there's been so many that have gone by.
Stiffs.
Remember Trevor Siemian, what's his name? Osweiler.
Oh, God, that guy sucks.
Manning's
Heir
predecessor.
apparent, yeah.
And that did not go right. He got paid, though. But
Yeah,
at
he
least he got paid.
His wife was happy.
Yeah. But with the rookie Judy, with the Broncos, along with their great tight end, no feint. They're going to put up numbers. They're going to put up points. They got two head running back with Gordon, with Philip Lindsay. That's going to spread the ball around.
Mm-hmm.
Adjust your fantasy wisely with those two. It depends how much Gordon really wants it, because I know he's wanting to get a big contract, but he's going to have to get it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he held out, and that didn't work out.
Oh, yeah.
That was awkward all year long with the Chargers. So I put the Broncos in third. And speaking of the Chargers, now, since 2004, Phillip Rivers has been on the team.
Mm-hmm. Making babies.
9. You gotta have a big house for that.
Yeah, you do.
And then he took the job after 05, and Breeze got hurt and all that. He had a great run with the Chargers, a great run, where they either gave him help or didn't give him help, and he was still putting up numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Even last year, he put up some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But his decision-making, like you mentioned, that was the final straw. And the Chargers knew they were going to be drafting top 5. Justin Herbert happened to be there. Now, I think, as we all mentioned yesterday with the Chargers, Tyrod Taylor will start. But when that bye week hits, I think week 8 or week 9, after that, I think Justin Herbert will take over. But I don't see him winning the division or gain a wild card. Their defense rate took a hit with Derwin James being out for probably the whole year. It seems like the Chargers always have that training camp injury. They had it in San Diego.
That holds them back, yeah.
It wasn't just in LA. It was in San Diego as well. Or a holdout or something would hold back the Chargers. Whatever curse it was. So Hilbert will come in just like Burrow, but Burrow would already be there. We're going to see a couple rookie quarterbacks. And it's unfortunate Taylor's going to start next week because the Chargers go to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That would have been fun seeing the two rookies start, but it's not going to be that unless there's an injury. But with Herbert, I know his decision making is good, but getting used to the NFL, that's going to be a thing because it's different at Oregon. It's
very
so much different.
Very different.
You can take a sip of water and then go run a play and get the call play. You can go back after you run a play, go get a sip of water, come back. Play clock is totally different. He's going to have to get used to that.
Definitely.
So I see, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos, Chargers, and the Chiefs winning division, and the Las Vegas Raiders. I keep saying playoffs, please. 1 year. Do you realize what 2000, 2001, 2002, 2016? That's been it for the new millennium. Every other year has just been nothing. I've had 2009, 2010, where they went 8-8, still couldn't get in. Just the pain of being a Raider is just deep, and I'm loyal. I'm loyal as hell. I'm not going anywhere.
Most Raider fans are.
This has got to be the year, please God, or whoever, Sin City, whoever, please God. How do you see that AFC West going?
I'm actually going to make you happy on that one. I'm picking the Raiders to get a wild card. But again, like you said, it all depends on Derek Carr. Now, here's the bad part. If Gruden gets upset at any point and they pull Carr for, they're 3-4 at one point, right? And you should have won 2 of those 4 losses. You should be sitting 6 or a 5-2 instead of 3-4. And they go with Mariota. Is Mariota going to be the type of quarterback who was drafted by one team, gave him all that he had, but they figured out who he was, didn't change, but then comes to a new team and gets it? Or is he going to be the guy that's just going to take the same crap he did in Tennessee and bring it to Oakland, and there's going to be no change? Meaning he's going to be injury prone, meaning he's going to make a stupid pass, meaning he's going to tuck it and run and when he should have passed, or he's just going to make bad decisions. What are we going to get? So that's the whole point. Or is he even going to come to that? But I'm gonna give the running game credit because I think it'll carry a Carr and take away some of his warts. The receiving core is good, and what they did on defensively in the draft, I really like what the Raiders did. They got speedy freaking corners because they know they're playing the Chiefs, like you said, and they know they need a speed in the open field. So they did a lot of things. Yes, they're inexperienced, like you said, but speed with speed. I like that right away. And these guys, these Raider guys, are going to be cocky. Let's just put it to you that way. They're going to be cocky. They're going to take some chances, and they're not going to catch the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be easily 13-3, like you said, 14-2. There's not much to get into them as far as them being just dominant. They might get a team or two to get at them because everyone wants to take a shot at the Super Bowl champs. So they might take a loss more here or there, but for the most part, they're double digits easy. I think the Raiders make it at 9-7, and the Broncos have been relying on that defense since Peyton Manning has left. And for the most part, if their offense sucks, which it has, until like a little bit last year when Locke was getting it going, they've relied on that defense. But these guys are aging, and I think the window for the Broncos defense is closing, and their offense is coming up. And I think as cocky as Drew Lock is, I think he'll get some things done. Their running game with Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay, great 1-2 punch. So I think they're going to score more points. But for the first time in a while, they're going to be giving up some points. And I think that's where Drew Lock is going to make his mistake. He's going to think that, I could rely on this defense to hold a team, to get a turnover, to do this and do that to where I don't have to do too much. No, bro, you're going to have to step your game up too. Because I think that defense is going to be a little more tired. They're not as spring chickens as they used to be. And coming off a COVID year, this is a team that, like I believe the Colts kind of, will be affected by it. And I think the Broncos because, again, they have a tremendous home field advantage. The quicker they can get the fans in there, the better. But them not having fans is going to hurt. So give me the Broncos to finish third. And as far as the Chargers, I agree with you. This is a make-or-break year, unfortunately, for the coach. So he's going to want to start a proven quarterback, or at least an NFL experienced quarterback. But I would take the latter and go Cincinnati route because Tyrod Taylor hasn't won any games anywhere. He may have balled out once or twice with Cleveland, but I don't see it with this particular team. The Chargers have lost a lot. They're playing in a brand new stadium. Well, no fans as usual. And yeah, he's got good receivers, but I've never seen Tyrod Taylor hook up with good receivers before. He's never really put the ball on point. He's another one of these skittish quarterbacks in the pocket. So give me what the limit. You spent the big money. You got the draft pick. Use them, But I could understand them sitting them because of preseason. But I'm with you. I don't think he goes 7 or 8 weeks. I think it's actually 4. I think when the Chargers are 0-4 to start, because I got the Bengals beating them in week 1, I just feel that they're going to just say, let's go with Keller. Let's just balls out, let it go. And unless he's terrible to where they have to reinsert Tyrod Taylor, I think the Chargers are going to just say, this is our future, this is our guy, let's let him learn. It's a lost season. We'll go ahead, and then they have to make the decision. Let's keep the coach. Is this really his fault or not? Because I don't see the Chargers winning more than 4 games. I really don't. 4 would be max for me. I don't think they win more than Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati wins one more, to be honest with you.
To bet on that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You know what we should do in this episode? We should do the AFC and just cut it at that and then do an NFC one next. We could do that and start it off because putting one huge show together would be kind of hard. But you want to have any closing remarks?
No, just say, hey, that's been the AFC preview of 2020, and hopefully we'll have the whole season and we'll get to the Super Bowl about it, and hope you enjoyed it, and share and like the chair and the grinds on this crossover episode. Thank you for watching, and have a good day, and stay dry, stay safe wherever you may be. Stay cool. Later.